That is so sweet of you, Lily. You're just too good for me.
Lily giggles, her cheeks flushing pink at your words. Aren't you smooth? She leans in closer, her eyes glimmering with amusement. But don't worry, I can handle a charmer like you.
I didn't care anymore.
The narrative then shifts to Sophie, who sits alone in her luxurious quarters, fuming with anger and frustration. Her usually meticulously styled hair is starting to come undone, and her normally flawless makeup is smudged with fresh tear stains. She paces back and forth, her mind a whirlwind of bitter and conflicted thoughts. Sophie can't help but recall her encounter with Caleb in the staff break room, her fury reigniting as she remembers the way he casually defied her and dismissed her demands. She clenches her fists, her nails digging into her palms as she curses out loud, her voice trembling with a potent mix of rage and despair. Damn you, Caleb.
Jesus.
In a fit of anger, Sophie impulsively sweeps her arm across a nearby vanity table, sending delicate perfume bottles, makeup, and trinkets crashing to the floor. She storms across the room, venting her fury on anything in her path, leaving a trail of destruction behind.
Jesus.
A servant cautiously knocks on the door, and Sophie's voice seethes with barely contained rage. What do you want? The servant, a young woman named Lily, timidly enters the room and takes in the mess. She notices the smeared mascara and red, puffy eyes as she struggles to maintain her composure. Your Highness, if there's anything I can do to help you. Sophie spins around, eyes blazing with fury. I don't need you, Lily. Get out of my sight! She snaps, her voice sharp like a whip. Lily, shaken and near tears, slowly backs away but lingers at the door, her eyes filled with a mix of concern and fear. Your Highness, you shouldn't be by yourself right now. Allow me to stay or call for... Sophie's emotions boil over yet again, and she hurls a nearby vase at the wall, its shards scattering near Lily's feet. The young servant ducks nervously, her face blanched. I said get out, you insolent wench! Sophie screams, her voice echoing throughout the room. Lily cowers and quickly retreats, closing the door behind her on shaking legs. As soon as she's gone, Sophie's bravado falters, and with a sob she sinks to her knees, surrounded by the mess of her own creation. She wraps her arms around her slender frame, struggling to hold herself together as she whispers a desperate, heartbreaking plea. Caleb, please forgive me. The narrative shifts back to Caleb, who has now settled into the servants' quarters. He observes the humble accommodations with mild surprise. A small room with plain bedding and a simple wooden chest, quite different from the elegance of his previous quarters.
I can get used to it. Oh, hey, Lily. What's the matter? You look down.
Lily enters the room, carrying a tray of sandwiches and a pot of tea. She sets it down on the small table next to Caleb, her expression a mix of concern and frustration. Princess Sophie is on a rampage, she explains, her voice tense. She's demanding that everyone find you and bring you back to her quarters immediately.
That was quick. I guess I will just go to her then. Wish me luck, Lily.
Lily offers a sympathetic smile, her eyes reflecting a hint of worry. Godspeed, Caleb. You'll find me waiting here, hoping you'll come back in one piece.
Now, Lily. I know you shot your shot. I'm still her fiancé after all.
Lily playfully rolls her eyes, a smirk tugging at the corners of her lips. A girl can dream, can't she? And based on the rumors, I wouldn't be surprised if you're already making plans to change that fiancé status.
We'll see about that. Take care, Lily.
Lily nods, her playful expression softening slightly. You too, Caleb. Be careful. Caleb heads toward Sophie's quarters, his mind racing with thoughts about what he might find there. He climbs the steps leading to Sophie's luxurious domain, aware of the stark contrast between her opulent surroundings and his current humble accommodations. As Caleb knocks on the door, an uncomfortable silence follows for a few moments. Eventually, the door creaks open, and Sophie peers out, her expression guarded.
Oh my God, what happened to you? You look like a mess.
Sophie glares at him, her usually perfect appearance marred by smudged makeup and disheveled hair. She self-consciously attempts to smoothen her frazzled locks and wipe away the remnants of her tears. Does it look like I care about my appearance at the moment?
No, I guess not. Anyway, you've been looking for me, you know.
Sophie huffs in annoyance, crossing her arms. You could say that. I wanted to make sure you haven't escaped like a coward. But let us not talk here. Come in.
Oh wow, your room is a mess now. You okay?
Sophie shoots a glare in Caleb's direction. Of course I'm not okay. Do you think I would ask to see you if I were fine? Besides, mess? Can you even call this a mess? This palace has staff for a reason. They're going to clean it up.
I walk in and I sit on the couch.
Sophie closes the door behind him and watches as Caleb makes himself comfortable on the couch in the middle of the messy room. She crosses her arms and leans against a nearby wall, eyeing him with a mix of irritation and vulnerability.
You can laugh at me all you want, but it's not going to affect me.
Sophie rolls her eyes, her usual haughty demeanor faltering for a brief moment. And why should I care if you're affected or not by my glaring? It's not like I'm trying to impress you or anything.
Look, Sophie, you've been glaring at me since I entered your room. Come on, just tell me what you want.
Sophie sighs, her tough demeanor momentarily crumbling. She averts her gaze from Caleb, struggling to find the right words. What I want, She pauses, her stubborn nature warring with her desire to be honest with him. Fine, I don't want to be alone right now, okay? She turns back to face Caleb, her expression still guarded but slightly softer. Just stay here for a while. I guess I need someone to talk to.
All right. What do you want to talk about?
Sophie huffs in annoyance, clearly not used to opening up to someone else. I don't know. You're the one who's good at talking your way out of everything. Can't you think of something to say?
I stay silent. I just want to mess with her some more.
Sophie fidgets nervously as the silence stretched between them. She glances at Caleb, expecting him to say something, anything, but he remains quiet, waiting patiently for her to speak. After a few moments, Sophie can't take it anymore. Would you stop being so damn quiet? It's creeping me out. Just say something, anything.
Look, I don't know what you want me to say.
Sophie's irritation escalates, her patience wearing thin. I don't want you to say anything specific. I just want you to talk. Engage in a conversation with me, damn it. She paces back and forth in the room, her frustration boiling over.
All right, just slow down. Just sit next to me, okay?
Sophie hesitates for a moment, her usual defiant attitude faltering. But eventually, she relents and moves closer, sitting next to Caleb on the couch.
So, did you eat your dinner, Sophie?
Sophie fidgets uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact with Caleb. No, I couldn't bring myself to touch it.
I understand. You were in a bad mood, right?
Sophie nods, her usual bravado crumbling under Caleb's understanding gaze. Yeah, but it's not just that. I've been feeling weird lately and everything just feels so messed up, and why the hell am I even telling you all this?
You know, I was on a good run, and then boom.
I don't know. I feel like you've reached a breaking point.
Sophie's bottom lip trembles and she can't quite meet Caleb's gaze. Her voice is quieter when she speaks again. Yeah, I guess you're right. I've just been holding everything in for so long, and it's finally spilling out. It's embarrassing, you know? I'm not used to feeling like this.
Look, Sophie, nobody can pretend to be strong forever. You know, even if you are strong, you also need to socialize. You need people to talk to. This behavior you have, it's only gonna make it worse.
Sophie is taken aback by his words, a mix of surprise and vulnerability briefly crossing her face. You're right. I know you're right, but it's just so hard. I've been this way for so long, and it feels like this is all I know.
Well, we can remove this behavior by just counter it. What's the one thing that you would never do, Sophie?
Sophie ponders the question for a moment, her prideful nature warring with her desire to finally break free from her self-confinement. I would never show weakness. I would never ask for help or admit that I need someone else. It's just not how princesses operate, you know? We're taught to be strong, independent, and in control.
All right, that's it. Do them.
Sophie hesitates, her usual arrogance resurfacing for a moment. Are you serious? You want me to show weakness? Ask for help?
Well, don't show it to anyone. You can trust me. You can show it to me. You can ask for my help.
Sophie's resolve falters once again, her vulnerability seeping through her usually callous demeanor. She bites her lip, contemplating his words. I suppose I can try. It's not easy, you know? I've been acting this way for so long, pretending to be tougher than I am. To let go of that, it feels scary.
Don't worry, I'll be here with you, Sophie. After all, I'm your fiancé.
Sophie's gaze meets Caleb's, and for a brief moment, the walls she's built around her emotions begin to crumble. The words, "I'm your fiancé," hit her with a mixture of defiance and an inexplicable sense of comfort. She takes a deep breath, her guard lowering slightly. Don't get used to it, peasant. This is a one-time thing, got it?
I'm thinking I'd like to take a break and smash your fucking face in a fucking hamburger.
Okay.
Yes, I got it. One-time thing.
Sophie nods, her tone attempting to maintain its haughty edge even as her facade slowly cracks. Good. Now, where do we start?
Well, you can lean on me, you know.
Sophie's initial hesitation is evident, her pride still trying to rebel, but slowly she gives in to the offer of support. Fine, I suppose I can lean on you, just for a moment though. Don't get any ideas, peasant.
Wouldn't dream of it. Just go ahead.
Sophie swallows her pride and takes a hesitant step towards Caleb, her movements awkwardly uncertain. She slowly leans into him, her body touching his, and a wave of vulnerability washes over her. This feels so strange, you know, but it's not entirely unpleasant.
Yes, when you have problems, it's okay to lean on someone you care about, and he cares about you.
Sophie's facade crumbles further as she listens to Caleb's words. She finds herself wanting to believe in his sincerity, to allow herself some vulnerability. I know, it's hard. I've been alone for so long, and I've gotten so used to being strong on my own. Sophie leans into Caleb a bit more, her head resting against his shoulder, albeit somewhat reluctantly.
You're not alone anymore, Sophie. You have one now.
Sophie's breath hitches at his words, a mix of emotions swirling within her. Despite the years of isolation and the walls she's built around herself, a part of her deep down yearns for connection. She takes a shaky breath, her voice barely above a whisper. I have you.
Yes, you do.
Sophie's vulnerable expression remains, her facade nearly entirely shattered, as she clings to Caleb, seeking comfort in his presence. Her usual arrogance seems to have deserted her momentarily. You won't ever mention this again, will you?
It's a secret.
Sophie looks up at him, her eyes meeting his in a rare moment of sincerity. Good. I don't need the rest of the palace, knowing that you've managed to break through to the spoiled princess. It would be terrible for my image.
What's the image?
Sophie manages a faint smirk, a glimmer of her usual haughtiness returning. The image of a princess who's untouchable, flawless, and above everyone else. The image of a spoiled brat who gets whatever she wants.
I get it, but why do you want to maintain that image?
Sophie hesitates for a moment, contemplating her answer. She's accustomed to playing the role of the entitled princess, but this time, she feels compelled to share a bit more. It's what I've known for so long, the image of a princess, perfect and above it all. It's how everyone sees me, how they talk about me. It's comfortable. Even if it's all a facade, it's something I can control, you know? Being seen as the spoiled, untouchable brat.
Do you see it as something you want to do it, or you have to do it?
Sophie's gaze falters as she contemplates his question. There's a hint of conflict in her expression, a battle between what she's expected to be and what she truly wants. It's both, I guess. I've been the spoiled princess for so long, and everyone expects it from me. They see me as this entitled brat, and it's just easier to play the part. It's what I know. But at the same time, sometimes I do wish I could be something else, something more.
I want to know about the something else, and the something more.
Sophie takes a moment to gather her thoughts, her voice becoming increasingly introspective. It's evident that she's not used to sharing this side of herself. Well, I want to be seen as more than just a spoiled princess. I want people to know that there's something else beneath the facade. I want to be respected for more than just my wealth and status. I want to be known as someone who can care about others, who has feelings and can be vulnerable.
So you want people to know you without the wealth, right?
Sophie nods, her expression a mix of vulnerability and resignation. Yes, I suppose that's what I want, but it's easier said than done. People have their preconceived notions about me. They see me as the spoiled princess, and that's how they want to see me. It's what they expect from me. It's difficult to change that perception.
Tell me what, I know a way.
Curiosity flickers in Sophie's eyes as she looks up at Caleb, a hint of intrigue. A way? What do you mean?
I know a way to make people know you without your wealth. You know, to know the real you.
Sophie's skepticism is apparent as she considers Caleb's words. She's used to being seen a certain way, and the thought of changing that perception feels uncomfortable. And how exactly do you propose to do that?
Okay, but you need to trust me on this. We go to the staff room and we hang out with them. They'll know the real you, Sophie, and trust me. They'll be impressed.
Sophie is taken aback by the simplicity of Caleb's plan. She's never considered interacting openly with the staff, the thought of doing so never crossing her mind. Hang out with the staff? You mean the servants?
The peasant, as you say. Yes, hang out with them. I'll be right there with you.
Sophie's discomfort is evident. She's so accustomed to being isolated from the rest of the castle staff, and the idea of mingling with them feels strange and foreign. Fine. I'll give it a try. but don't expect me to be best buddies with them overnight.
I mean, it's not going to be just one time, you know. We're going to continue hanging out with them day after day.
A mixture of discomfort and resignation washes over Sophie's face. She's not used to the idea of such prolonged interaction, especially with the staff. So, this won't be a one-time thing? We're gonna socialize with the staff regularly?
Do you trust me, Sophie?
Sophie hesitates for a moment, her eyes flickering with a mix of uncertainty and a quiet resolve. Trust isn't something I do easily, but yes, I trust you, Caleb. Sophie watches as Caleb searches for a box of tissues and a brush, her curiosity piqued. She remains seated on the sofa, waiting for him to return, her previous expression of discomfort replaced by a mix of intrigue and skepticism.
Alright, Sophie, may I brush your hair? It looks a little tangled.
Sophie hesitates for a moment, her usual air of formality momentarily disrupted. She's not used to someone offering to brush her hair, but there's a strange comfort in Caleb's presence. Sure, you can brush my hair, I guess. Just be gentle. As Caleb gently brushes her hair, Sophie's initial discomfort melts away. The sensation of the brush running through her hair is soothing, and she finds herself unexpectedly relaxed. Her expression softens from its usual haughty demeanor, and her body begins to untense as she allows herself to be vulnerable in this intimate moment. Sophie's hair is now beautifully styled, the tangles neatly brushed out and replaced by soft, smooth locks. She runs her fingers through her hair, feeling its silky texture, and lets out a soft sigh. Thank you. That was surprisingly nice. I didn't realize how much I needed that.
Alright, Sophie, I need you to hold still, okay?
Sophie gives Caleb a slightly puzzled look, but compiously holds still. Okay, I'm holding still. What is it? Sophie's heart skips a beat as Caleb gently holds her chin with his right hand. She can't help but feel a mixture of anticipation and a hint of anxiety. What are you doing? Sophie's surprise quickly turns into a sense of vulnerability as Caleb tenderly cleans her face with tissues, wiping away any trace of tears, makeup smears, and anything else. Her breath hitches, and a mix of emotions washes over her. You don't have to do this, you know. I can clean myself.
Look, Sophie, you leaned on me. It's my job now to help you. My duty.
Sophie's defiance fades as Caleb reminds her of the change in their dynamic. She swallows her pride and admits the truth. You're right, I did lean on you. I'm not used to relying on others. But I suppose it's your duty now to help me, isn't it? Caleb steps back, satisfied with his handiwork. Sophie's face is now clear of any trace of tears or smudged makeup, leaving her with a fresh, natural look. She runs her fingertips gently over her cheeks, noticing the difference. I can't remember the last time my face felt this clean and fresh. Thank you, Caleb.
I extend my hand.
Sophie hesitates for a brief moment, her pride still lingering, but ultimately, she decides to let go of her usual defiance. She gently takes Caleb's hand, placing her small, delicate fingers in his.
Ready to go to the staff room, Sophie?
Sophie takes a deep breath, steeling herself for the upcoming social interaction with the staff. She looks at Caleb with a mix of nervousness and determination. As ready as I'll ever be, I suppose. Let's go.